Hey everyone, Ayo Yokoso, which means welcome if you're new. I think this is working now. I apologize. I'm really behind on things today. My kid is home. Well, both of my kids are home, but one of my kids is home sick, so he decided to give me some of that human virus. You know. I hope you're all doing well out there on this Thursday or Friday, depending on where you are. I apologize once again if I sound gross or whatever, because not quite my monotone robot self. See some of you already in the chat. Hey, welcome, Nizzle. Thank you, sir. Andy, welcome. Megabyte. Hey. Oh man, you guys are too much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your super chats. Uh, Local, oh, that means donate in YouTube speak. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher that, so I'm just gonna say thank you. Yokoso means welcome. Yeah, Andy says donate. Yes, thank you guys. Doing Apex versus OneXplayer 3 video today. I know there's a bunch of these out there already. One in particular, which is a really good one by Barely Average Dude. His name is Paul. He does some really good stuff over there. He did a cool comparison, which I know a lot of people are very interested in terms of performance. I think it's kind of well known already in our community, in the handheld space, that, you know, the 395, the 388 with the Radeon 8060S iGPU is going to outperform the Arc G3 Extreme and, you know, the B390 that's in here, right? But what's often lost in that conversation or that discussion is they kind of like trade places, or they kind of operate at different levels. So if you're just looking for straight up performance, you don't care about burning electricity, whatever, you don't live in Europe, or you know, okay, then fine. You know, a 388, a 395, if you can still get one, that's going to be your best bet. X2 Mini Pro, you know, a Z13, the Apex, that's what you want. But the thing is with those APUs, they have a tendency to lose a lot of performance. Like, it just completely drops off the wall because, or drops off a cliff, because they're not intended for very low wattage. Like, I think generally around like 20-ish watts or so. If you go below that, it's like it falls off a cliff. And so when you are around the 30-ish watt range and below, that's when the OneXplayer 3, that's when the Arc G3 Extreme kind of really takes over. So pretty much in that video by Barely Average Dude, he shows that, you know, something like, let's say 30 watts on the Apex, no, I'm sorry, 30 watts on the X2 Mini Pro, which he had, is probably around 23, 24 watts on the OneXplayer 3. And, you know, there's probably a number of reasons for why that is. I don't recall him explaining what that is, but as an example, it's most likely one of the big factors is that, you know, there's a bigger fan, you need more cooling for a Strix Halo device. And so, you know, Intel with the Arc G3 Extreme, there's fewer performance cores. You don't need that robust of cooling. So normalized TDP, meaning that the whole system is using, the whole system, the fans, you know, the fans, the screens, the LEDs, all of those things are using the same amount of wattage across devices. And that what he found was, you know, pretty much across the board, didn't matter what wattage you used, the X2 Mini Pro was consuming more power. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. How are we doing here? No drop frames so far. So yeah, so far so good. Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure because my internet's kind of wonky today, so apologies if there's like a bunch of drop frames as well. I'm trying to finish downloading, as you can see, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so I can do some like side-by-side benching. I have some questions that some people in the community were also wondering about, so I'll get to those. But let me check the chat. Oh, and also if the power goes out, you'll know why, because it's like storming outside as well. You live in Europe. Yeah, Megabyte. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. It's like, isn't it like 50 cents per kilowatt hour or something like that? It's something crazy. It's crazy. This is what I heard. Wait, no audio? Cutting out again. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. No audio. It says my audio is active. Is it just cutting out? Let's see. Fine for me. Okay, Megabyte. Okay. Maybe it's just drop frames. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I would show you outside here, like you can see, it's storming outside here. So, you know, I don't know what's it's going to be like. So hopefully, you know, it holds up. Apologies once again, please bear with me. Okay, you blame too loud. Yeah, it's back. Okay, yeah, too loud, too loud. Yep, I know. It's always too loud's fault. Who else's fault would it be? So before I get to the FAQ questions, and you know, if you have any questions in the chat, or if you're catching the replay of this, please do leave a comment below. I'll do my very best to compare these. I know there's a lot of questions about these, and I do have an X2 Mini Pro that is supposed to be coming, maybe in, honestly, with shipping and tariffs and all that kind of stuff, it's probably going to be like 2 weeks or something. So I'll do a comparison of all three of these things. I'll tell you that I already have biases, but I'll get to those in the FAQ questions. So the thing that they all share, though, which I personally love, is One X console. So if you haven't seen it already, you know, shameless self-plug. I mean, this is my channel, right? So go and check out the One X console guide that I've already made. And then there was an update to it showing these AI features. And the AI features have things like a live on-screen translation, and they also have things like built-in one-click or like two-button loss of scaling integration. And you can also even set up like your own hotspot. So like say you want to quickly transfer files from your phone or transfer to your phone, like that's a really kind of nice little feature. Oh, that was a big thunderclap there. So let me turn up the brightness on here just to make sure that that's going to, oh, it's already full brightness. Okay, well, yeah. So the basic differences between these two devices are kind of obvious, right? This one has an 8.8-inch OLED screen. This one has an 8-inch screen. This screen should be the same as the MSI Claw, should be the same as the AOK Zoe A1, A1X, as well as the Legion Go S. This screen here should be the exact same one as the one that's on the Legion Go 2. Now, they have the same resolution, so pixel-wise, pixel density-wise, this one is going to be a little bit more dense. So if you look at these kind of like side by side and you think, okay, well, the text on here looks a little bit blurrier than this, that would be why, because, you know, these pixels are being stretched a little bit more than this one here. They're both 1920 by 1200p. I believe they're also, I'll have to double check, maybe someone in the chat can correct me, I believe they're both also 144 hertz panels. OLED screens have a tendency to tap out at 120, that's why I'm not 100% sure, but usually that's the case. They're both VRR panels. And you could see, like, otherwise dimensionally, they're, you know, the OXP3 is a lot bigger, but because of the backpack battery that's on the back of the Apex and the X2 Mini Pro and the newly announced, well, not exactly newly announced, but newly available for order X2 Mini, and I'll talk about that briefly afterwards. This also has the backpack on their back there, so that will kind of change the weight distribution. Obviously, this is going to be like heavier, and it's going to be bulkier and harder to move around. In terms of the controls and stuff like that, I think that's a good time to really address those questions. So one question I often get asked is, you know, which of these feels better in the hand? And obviously it depends on, like, you know, what your hand size is, right? I have, like, you know, medium-sized hands. Don't let the stream fool you. They're not baby hands, okay? They're medium-sized hands. But I would say, and I've said this before, you know, they're both very comfortable for me ergonomically. But for anyone who thinks a Steam Deck is too big, for anyone who thinks a Legion Go 2 or Legion Go 1 is too big, the OXP3 is going to be too big too. That doesn't mean the Apex is going to be, you know, to a normal size for them. It might be an okay size, like, you know, width-wise, but because of that backpack battery, again, it's going to be heavier. Now, I know you can just, you know, get rid of this backpack, but then you are still, like, stuck to this tether thing, which, shout out to my boy Too Loud. If you're curious, this cable, I'll leave a link in the description below. This is a USB-C to DC input cable. And I'm not sure if this shows up on screen here, but it says DC in there. So basically this is a voltage converter. You can press this button and it'll switch the voltages. And basically it's a USB output that turns into a DC input and tricks devices like the Apex into thinking that it's plugged into a regular DC adapter, right? You still on the power adapter side, like I have it plugged into like a Ugreen multi-desktop charger thing. You still need to be able to supply that much power on the USB-C side, but this way you don't have to carry around like a big power bank and exactly that DC plug all the time. Hey, welcome Skulls, Lemon Knee Fresh. Hey, welcome. Thank you. If it's too big, get handed. Yeah, get bigger hands. Get those. You guys ever seen those Hulk hands? You know, like the big Hulk hands that are like made out of foam or whatever. I feel like they have Hulk Buster ones too. I could be wrong, but like for the Halloween, they're hilarious. Yeah, that's what you need. And get the big Hulk hands. Yeah. Megabyte without the backpack, it's light as hell. No, this is true. This is true. Okay, Apex is 120 hertz. Yeah, thank you, Nizzle. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, they're both high refresh rate. Generally speaking, if you're playing something like demanding, very demanding, and you don't like to use the frame gen, you don't like to use the upscaling stuff, you're not going to like tap out or max out that 120 hertz like on a brand new AAA game. It's just like it's unlikely. I shouldn't say it's impossible, but like it's quite unlikely. If you use any of the frame gen, you use any of the well, on here it would be FSR like balance performance. Yeah, you're gonna cap out at that 120 hertz, and you don't even have to use use like dual frame gen with I'm sorry, can't talk right now. Dual GPU frame gen, which I've also made like some videos on before. I love doing that personally, so I can max out all the settings, and then another GPU does the frame gen. Like that's awesome to me. But let's see, what are your other questions here? You played tethered more than anything, Megabyte? Yep. You have a lot of power batteries. Yeah, I figured you would, Skulls. I figured you would. Okay, so yeah, so back to the ergonomics thing. Which of these feel better in hand? I mean, they both have a nice little, I guess you would say, junk in the trunk to them. They have a nice curvature here. I personally believe that these are both as comfortable as like the Legion Go, or sorry, not Legion Go, Legion Go 2. But I've heard some comments online about them saying like this is not wide enough. So like, you know, people like my friend Nelly, they'll put on like a lizard skin or something like that, which gives just a little bit more curvature, gives a lot more grip. So there's that, right? To me, I feel like the conversation is less about ergonomics and actually more about like the inputs. Like I like the Apex D-pad a lot. The OneXplayer 3 D-pad, it's okay. It's very clicky. I don't know if you can hear it because of SteamOS, but Steam Big Picture. It's very, very clicky. And it's not uncomfortable. It's just the raised nature is just like it takes a little bit getting used to. They do have the, I don't know where I put it. They have the regular cross shape one, but it's still elevated. It's still raised. Like let me see if I can show it here on screen. Like it's raised from the body, whereas you see on like the Apex, it sits more flush. Like it's kind of more traditional. So to me, like the buttons are the bigger conversation. Like these are very clicky as well. I think I kind of like the inputs a little bit better on the Apex. Stick tension wise, I think they're exactly the same. So once again, check out my friend Nelly. She's going to have all the stick replacement mods and stuff like that videos on her channel. Otherwise, other than that, one really nice thing that I like about the Apex also, and I believe this is the same for the X2 Mini Pro, is that personally, I like having one USB-C port at the top and like right over here, and then one USB-C port on the bottom, which is actually really great for like a lot of docks, you know, whereas like on the OneXplayer 3, both of these USB-C ports are right next to each other. It's not, you know, it's like a first world problem, if anything, but because there's no ports on the bottom, like when you dock it, it's kind of, that space is kind of like wasted, so to speak. But otherwise, like that's the same, you know, they both have a USB-A port. The X2 Mini Pro, I believe, has USB-A port as well. They have, you know, the headphone jack, all that stuff is kind of the same. Now, one thing I would be amiss if I didn't mention, and this is kind of less about ergonomics, but it's definitely about the differences between them. Shout out to my boy again, Too Loud. He told me that the buttons, just like on the Apex here, they are reversed for volume, right? So most people, I think if they press this, they're used to the one on the left being volume down, but as you can see here, it's going volume up, and then the other is reverse here, right? Whereas it's kind of, I guess you would call it normal on the OneXplayer 3. So you press left side and then it's volume down, and you press right side and it's volume up, right? So Too Loud did ask them to see if like they could switch that in the software, in the OneXplayer software. I would think it would be an easy fix, and that would be nice. I'm sure like some people have complained about that before. Okay. All right. Does the plastic Noel Munoz? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Does the plastic feel cheap on the OneXplayer 3? Wow, that's a really good question too. I guess it depends on how you define cheap, and that's not like a cop-out answer. Because some people, like, I believe that it doesn't feel cheap because like I'm really squeezing the plastic here. Wouldn't that be fun? Like, wouldn't that be terrible if it like cracked on me? But the thing is they're very light. Like, all the weight for this thing is in the tablet body. Each one of these, and I showed this on my stream last week, each one of these controllers here is only like 90 or like 80 or 90 grams or something like that. And so like this in the hand, it feels very light. Like, I'm pretty sure this bottle weighs more than this. You know what I mean? And so because of that, someone might think that it feels cheap, you know, but like, if we're talking about the quality, like if you look at like, are there any, you know, is there any space in the, or gaps in the plastic? Does the plastic look like it's not like smooth or anything like that? I don't see it. Like, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I don't see any blemishes or anything like that. And, you know, there's like really tight gaps. Like, you guys ever remember like, you had like really sweaty sessions on your consoles, and you're playing really on your consoles. You're playing really sweaty sessions of like COD or whatever it is on your PlayStation controllers. It was way more of a problem on the PlayStation controllers from whatever. And all this like grime would get stuck. It's basically like, you know, skin, right? Dead skin. And it would just build up in the cracks here. I mean, like, please tell me that's not just a me problem. Like, and it would be gross. Like, you would have to take a toothpick and then, you know, like clean it out. And yeah, like, I don't think that that's going to be a problem for this, or it's very less likely to be a problem. As you can see, like, I don't even know if this is picking up on stream. Like, it's very thin. If I wanted to pop this open, I would have to use a very thin, like, pick, you know? So basically, long answer short, I don't believe they feel cheap, but they feel very light, if we can phrase it that way. Whereas like, so the Apex as an example, right? The weight is distributed across the whole thing, you know, and most of the weight is in the backpack battery. So while the plastics feel the same, the weight, it doesn't feel light on each side. And so I think that's what's contributed to the weight, you know, discussion. So let me check my next thing here. So my next question. Oh, you know what? I didn't even answer the question properly. Oops. Okay, so it was actually, which one actually feels better in your hands after an hour? Actually, for me, it's the OneXplayer 3. And that's just me, like, in my personal bias against the backpack battery. Like, at the beginning, I hated the backpack battery, and afterwards, I liked the backpack battery, and then now I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. And, you know, I talk about this a lot, you know, with my friends and co-hosts on Speedcast and Handhelds United. If you're new to us, please go check us out there. The reason is that this has a lot of really great perks, right? One of them being that, like, you never have to worry about spicy pillow backpack, or I mean, spicy pillow, your battery blowing up and things like that, because when this thing starts swelling, okay, just pop it off and never use it again and just get a replacement. That's very friendly for that. Or, you know, whether you could also turn this into a permanent server or something like that, or permanent, I don't know, AI LLM machine, by just popping this off, and you never have to worry about it. The only thing that's going to fail otherwise, I should say, the most likely thing to fail after that is just going to be the fans. You know, so whereas like a device like this with the battery inside of it, the battery is most likely going to swell at some point in time, right? And then, you know, it's going to affect the fan, you got to change the fan and all that kind of stuff. But for me, because I have young children and, you know, sometimes I have to just like drop what I'm doing, it's a burden to kind of just clip this on and take it off. So between that and the weight, after an hour, for me, I prefer the OneXplayer 3. And also because, like, you know, I could just pop off these controllers, and then, you know, I don't even have to worry about the weight. I could literally just, like, if I have this docked on a stand, you know, I just drop this and then, like, you know, I have options there, right? Which I like. Andy again with the super chat. Thank you, my friend. Dead skin. Yeah, that's a delicacy. Did you know? In some places, they pay top dollar for that. No place I frequent, just for the record, but, you know, some places. Okay. Pravis, yeah, welcome back. Thanks for coming in. On the device, it feels solid. Yeah. When it, yeah, no, that's fair. And that's the thing, right? Like when it's off like this and it's on that bridge, I don't know where I put my other controller, it feels super light. And so for a lot of people, they feel like they're gonna break it. Or like, if you just go like this, it'll just like fly into the air. And then when it comes down, then it's all broken, right? So if that is a concern, I understand that part. And hopefully as Lemony Fresh, you said, like the Elite controller will be like addressing that. You know, it's still going to be many months away, but hopefully that does address that. And for people who already purchased, they're getting that for free. So, you know, that's a nice little perk there. Controllers are not Bluetooth. Yeah, they communicate through. Yeah, you're right. They communicate through pogo pins and this thing, the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which it was a genuine complaint of mine before in the past because they used this similar type of system on the OneXplayer 2 and the OneXplayer 2 Pro. I've kind of made my peace with it, and the reason for that is because you can use this as a separate trackpad. So like if I want to, I can then, you know, kind of use a kind of pseudo mouse and keyboard type thing. So I can do this. Look how clowny this looks. If I, oh, that's a huge mistake. I spilled my coffee. Gonna have to clean that up. What I was saying was, I could do this kind of really clowny setup right here. Speaking of clowns, like myself, I could go ahead and do this with this like baby keyboard or like a macro pad, and then use this as my mouse, right? So I have that as an option. Whereas without that, and it was just Bluetooth, you know, I get it. It would be nice to not have that, but this, like this, I can go and switch this to another device too. So yeah, give me 1 second while I clean myself up. This is why you don't put your coffee so close to your electronics and a bunch of cables. See? Super skill issue. If there's any kind of proof that I'm not actually an AI, oh, actually, is this proof that I am an AI? Because like I just screwed up so badly that a regular human probably wouldn't normally do that. Oof, oof. Sounds like a self-report. Okay, so let me check the next question here. The next question that I have is the Apex, let's see. Is the Apex actually noticeable day to day or just a spec sheet win? And I kind of addressed this in the beginning of the stream, but in some ways it's hard to compare these devices, and in other ways it's very simple. So I'll probably do one of these live streams again when I get the X2 Mini Pro, because that'll be like a direct comparison. But if we're talking specifically against Strix Halo, right? Strix Halo 388 or 395. Actually, last night in the chat in Discord, which if you're not a part of, please do hop onto the Discord, you know, chat with me, chat with way more knowledgeable experts in the handheld and gaming space. They were in the chat, and shout out to my guy Lemon 108 Dragons TV. He was really debating. He said, you know, maybe he should have bought you know, the Strix Halo 385 when it came out, and that has the 8050S. And on average, from all the tests that I've seen anyway, because I've not had one on hand, the performance difference is roughly around like 10-ish, like it's about 10-ish% worse than a Strix Halo $395 and probably a $388 as well. But the problem with that is you can't buy one for a reasonable price anymore. So the $385 is kind of out of the conversation at that point. Whereas, you know, now we're looking at $388 and $395 for pure gaming. In some cases, it looks like the 388 is the winner there for not just efficiency, but maybe just because it can clock a little bit higher. This is from what I've seen, but you know, feel free to correct me in the chat or in the comments, because I don't have a 388 on hand just as of yet. But so comparing them spec sheet wise, right? Like I was saying, I should run a test here, but when we, you know, below 30 watts, around 30-ish watts, the Onexplayer 3, the Arc G3 Extreme, seems to be the winner, generally speaking, right? I'm sure there's like little trade-offs here and there, but then once you exceed 30 watts, and the Onexplayer 3 tops out at 40 watts if you enabled a manual update or a recent update, that's where we get diminishing returns, and that's where Strix Halo really starts to take over, you know? So I'm gonna run a little, and everyone uses Cyberpunk, right? But let me just load up something like Spider-Man here. So yeah, the other difficult part that makes it challenging to compare is that they don't have the same RAM configurations, right? For example, for the OneXplayer 3 and actually the other G3 Extreme devices, there's a 24 gigabyte configuration. And while I will always recommend that you get more RAM if you can stomach the price and you can afford it, 24 is probably the bare minimum on something like a Windows handheld, and that's not even an option on devices like the Apex, right? So the base configuration is 48 gigabytes on the Apex and the X2 Mini Pro. The base configuration, I believe, is 48 gigabytes, whereas the base configuration is 24 gigabytes on the Arc G3 Extremes on the Onexplayer 3, and the same should be the same also for the Apex Air. So you can't compare them spec for spec, especially from RAM, but generally speaking, the performance is like what I was saying. Let me check some of the chat messages here. Joystack, hey, welcome. Well, what are your thoughts on the Viture XR Cyberpunk? Oh, I don't have, if you're talking about the Viture, the Cyber Lumas, I don't have those, but they're essentially the Viture Luma Pros. They are, well, they're in between the Viture Luma Pros and the Luma Ultras, so they have a Viture Luma Pro body, and that means they only have the one front-facing camera. That's I have it here, so I have the Beast here, so I'll just show you. So they have this body here, right? This is the Beast, but the Luma Pros is like the same. Whereas I think these are Luma Ultras. Yeah. So I noticed for the Luma Ultras, they have these front-facing cameras here, and really these are only used for like developer purposes. Like if you're developing apps and you want to use like you know, do all the hand tracking and stuff like that. So the Luma Pro, the Cyber Lumas kind of sit in between the Luma Ultras and the Luma Pros. And if you don't care about 3DOF, that means like, you know, the pinning of the image and stuff, or the stability mode, then, you know, they're pretty good. Especially right now, I believe you can buy them on eBay refurb directly from Viture, and less than what they were before. For otherwise, for what they were before, I believe they were $50 less than the Luma Ultra, so I think 600 or something, and very close in price to the Beast. Me personally, I would just take the Beast. Even as a Cyberpunk fan, I would choose that just because I want the 3DOF. I want the pinning on the device. But if you're a huge Cyberpunk fan, I totally get it. And actually, I'm going to talk about a different like Viture collaboration exclusive that's coming later in the news section here. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me pull up the performance. Okay, so I don't know what the settings are. I'll have to check it here. Okay, so full screen 800p. What happened? Oh, I think I changed this because, oh yeah, I changed this to 800p because Marvel Tokon was being weird. Something happened. Oh, awesome, PlayStation. Thank you. Thanks, PlayStation. You did it. Okay. All right, so the settings here I have are very high. Okay. Very high and XESS performance at 1080p. Okay. So this is in Times Square. This section is Times Square. I'm not sure if you can see the FPS. It is over 100 and something because I have frame gen on. So I know some people don't like frame gen. I personally like it, especially on a small screen. I think it's really great for that. So, you know, this is going to give you like really smooth motion here. Like you're not going to see this on the YouTube video, just to be clear, because like it's going to drop frames on the YouTube video. I think at most YouTube will show 60 frames, but I think for this live stream, they only show like 30. So there's that. Let me check the message. It's always user error, Andy. Party foul, yep. Oh, I missed a question here. Sorry. Frenchie, hey, welcome. Are the hinges aligned? Is there a wobble? On the OneXPlayer 3? No, not really. I would say no more than the Legion Go 2. And I did this last week, and please go check out that video if you're interested. There's more of a direct comparison with the Legion Go 3 and the OneXPlayer 3. And I have a dedicated video as well that compares a little bit more of their screen quality and stuff, if you're curious about that. Okay. No. What did you say here, Noel? A couple of reviewers noticed the rings around the joysticks move and can be annoying. Hitting the sides. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about this. So once again, I'm not sure if this shows up on the stream here, but basically these look like metal stems, but they're not metal stems. They're plastic stems, and they're held in by like a metal ring. I believe the Apex is the exact same thing too. Well, once again, my friend Nelly would be able to confirm. But I'll tell you guys, full disclosure, on the prototype unit that I reviewed, there was something, not when I had it, but afterwards, apparently it got damaged in shipping and like the ring popped off or something like that. So I believe that that it can happen. I've not found that myself, but I'll also be honest, I don't feel like so like, you know, there's a lot of like games like Twitch shooters and stuff like that where you're like constantly tapping on, you know, on the sticks, right? For your movement, just for a number of different reasons, right? I normally only play like filthy casual single player games where there isn't a lot of like rapid and intense movement. So I've not personally run into that myself, but I completely believe it if it's happening to people. And I would just say, if that is happening to you, please do reach out to them. Reach out. Their support is pretty good for Chinese boutiques. And if they don't answer, you know, leave a comment in this video. You know, I'll blow up their chat. Oh, 45 on the Apex Air. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. As far as I know, Nizzle. Yeah, 45 watts. Maybe they'll enable a 50-watt mode because the OneXplayer 3 tops out at 40 watts, whereas it used to be 35, right? And then they enabled 40. So okay, so let's do this comparison here. And I'll stop dawdling. Okay, let me check the graphics here. Okay, full screen, 1080p, auto, FSR frame gen on 4.1, yeah, FSR for performance. So one thing to keep in mind, and this is something that, you know, it's not their fault. It's honestly the vendors' fault, as in like AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel. When you see FSR performance and you see XESS performance, depending on what the game is, that might not mean the same thing. As in like FSR performance might mean 50% scaling in one game, and it might actually mean 33%, which is generally used as ultra performance, but it's not the same across vendors is what I'm trying to say. So this is not exactly an apples to apples comparison. Like they might not even be rendering exactly the same frame rate. However, the reason why I think that this test is still valid is because it's a real world test. Somebody is just going to use this mode, performance or balance or whatever, and they're not going to be like, oh, well, you know, this is only exactly 40% of the pixels, so it's not even rendering at 540p, it's rendering at 480p. Like, people normally are not going to do that. You know, that's weird. Honestly, that's weird, like tech tuber stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense normally speaking, right? So that's the reason why I'm mentioning that. Okay, so this was at very high. So let me just double check. I think this was very high too. Yeah, very high. Okay, so the settings are the same now, or they should be the same. Why does that say? Yeah, so even their implementations might be a little bit different, right? And I believe the Fox has said this, like ARC GPUs might be cheating in some ways. Actually, I believe Gamers Nexus said this as well. Like for some games that use like NVIDIA PhysX, let's say they're rendering a bunch of rocks that are moving across the screen. Some Intel games might just like remove the rocks or something like that. So again, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it is a real world comparison. And you can actually see that on screen here, hopefully, with this exact same thing. Like as you can see, ambient occlusion is using XeGTAO, right? So that's like Intel's technology on processing ambient occlusion, whereas this is using SSAO on Radeon. Okay, so it's again, it's not apples to apples, but again, it's also a real world comparison. Okay, so enough of that babbling. Let's check here. Oh, I changed the performance. Wait, what happened here? Oh, oops. It's because I was stupidly using this thing. Okay, so I'm using Steam in-game overlay for both of these. I will tell you that, what's the Apex at? Apex is at 45. Okay, so they're both, so this is at 40, this is at 45. Let me turn this down to 45. So I'm going to pretend like I didn't watch Barely Average Dude's video, and I don't know that, you know, the wattage is normalized. So if we're putting them both at 40, what are we getting here? Apex is, like, it's topping out already at 120 FPS, right? Or 120 fake frames. Right? Let's see here. Hey, welcome, Robotech. I can't watch your benchmarking unless it's Clef approved at 540p. Oh, well, you know, here's the thing about 540p, right? When you're using the performance mode, I have not said this on Speedcast because I don't want to antagonize anybody, but 540p is actually just performance mode. It's just XeSS performance mode. It's just FSR performance mode running at 1080p. So somebody who also says they don't use upscaling, like if they say that they're playing a game at 1080p, but they're using FSR performance, actually it's 540p. That's the native res anyway, and then it just gets upscaled, and then post-process and stuff. Then we do, yeah, we can do, oh, please, Joy's Tech, yeah, please do Tokon, yeah, for sure. And then do FF7. Okay, yeah, I can hit those 3 games. I don't, Pork doesn't seem to be in this chat. I know he wanted me to hit Crimson Desert last week, but I didn't get a chance to. So what is on my screen here? Is it? Oh, that's just me. That's just me and my light. Oops, sorry guys. Like blinding you guys. Okay, so so as you can see here, this is not a good measurement, at least using using anything, because like my controllers are not working now. What's happening? Oops. Okay, so here I am again. So here at, you know, this wattage, 40, it's not even a good comparison because if we're using, once again, a real world scenario, we're using FSR frame gen. It's like, you can't even tell. You're already maxing out. So I'm going to turn this down to 35. Okay. All right, I'll turn this down to 35. I'll turn the Apex down to 35. And just to be clear again, the only reason why I'm not turning the Apex up higher is because we already know the Apex is the winner at the top. Like if we're talking about climbing a mountain and getting to the peak of Mount Everest or whatever, the Apex can get there, the OneXPlayer 3 can't. So like that, I'm not even entertaining that conversation. Okay, just to be clear. So it looks like we're still maxing out on the FPS counter here though, the 120. So 60, you know, frame gen up to 120, and it seems like, let's see, yeah, about the same also. It says 134 here. So in both of these scenarios, even though it's, you know, it's very high, you know, we're maxing this out on Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 for reference, okay? I'll turn this down to 30. Oh, and something I should have mentioned too, this is the 32 gigabyte configuration. This is actually the 64 gigabyte configuration. So this again is also not an apples to apples comparison. To get something completely apples to apples in terms of RAM configuration, there isn't one, because there's no 32 gigabyte Apex as far as I know, and there's no 48 gigabyte OneXPlayer 3. So you know, you can't do that. You can normalize it a little bit, I guess, if you set the VRAM exactly, but yeah, there's that. Okay, so I'm going to turn this down to 30. And then after we do this, then I will switch it to Tokon. So 30 for each. FPS counter here. Still topping out. Still topping out. Okay, so I'll put this down to 25. Okay, so when I drop down to 25, I don't know if this is showing up on stream here, but now the Apex is starting to finally like lose a little bit of headway. And again, you know, this is because this chip is not really designed for the lower TDPs. Okay, this one is. Okay, and in the reverse, this chip is not designed to go past 40, well, even like 35, which is why I can't do it, you know? So it's dropped to the 50s. It's around. So let me see what the wattage I can drop this down to make that equal, or like relatively equal. Okay. So, okay, this is 118, 119. It's hovering. So it is dropping some. I dropped this is at 20 watts. Okay. So this should also be like somewhat close to normalized TDP according to you know, Paul, barely average dude. This should be very close. So 25 watts on the Apex should be very close to 20 watts on the OneXPlayer 3 in terms of total system power. I didn't pull up hardware info, but like it should be pretty close. Okay, so if we and performance wise, we're getting pretty close here too. So this is probably like the trade-off area. If I turn this down to 15, I'm sure that we'll lose a lot more performance. Yeah, so now it has dipped below. It is saying like 10, 104, 105. It's saying like 104, 105, okay? And then I bet with the Apex, we don't have to drop that much. We go like 23, it's gonna show us the same thing or something similar. Yeah, so now this says 102, 104, 105. So it looks like, I was actually saying earlier in the stream around the 30s, but for this particular game, right? For this particular game, Spider-Man 2, the OneXplayer 3 is beating the Apex in the 20s at the teens, at the high teens. Okay, and then once you exceed that, I said I wasn't going to entertain it, but like if I turn this up to 140, and then, you know, I turn this up to 50, you know, to 50, it's at 55 right now. Oh, I didn't put this on. Oh, it's because I did not set the voltage thing because I unplugged it. Okay, that's why it says 55 there. But even at 55, there's no question that the Apex is going to win. So what's the conclusion here? Well, if you're strictly portable or you're mostly portable, like the OneXplayer 3 at the, you know, kind of primarily, let's say, medium-ish settings, like this is going to be the winner for you. But the Apex, the winner for the Apex is you can turn this up, you could dial up that performance whenever you want. Something that I've also said on Speedcast, and this is the challenge though, because this is a lot more, the Apex, the X2 Mini Pro are a lot more expensive than the OneXPlayer 3 or even the MSI Claw 8EX, I think that's the name, right? So if you tack on an eGPU, and I still have to make the video for this at some point, the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, the price has gone up now for 900 for that, to around 900. But you pack that GPU with the OneXPlayer 3, it's probably going to run you just south of 3000, and it gets you close to probably what this configuration is, a 64 gigabyte. And this is going to perform better, let's say on the go, because you don't need to pack that battery. You don't have to turn up the wattage as high. And then when you're at home and you're docked on the desktop, you're going to get more out of that GPU. So that's the thing, that's kind of a trade-off. Right. And I probably explained that poorly, but oh, what up, Too Loud? You have to make your performance metrics bigger. Oh, yeah, you're right, dude. Skill issue. I'll have to do that for the next time. Nizzle, there are no workloads in gaming that requires more than 24 to 32. No, that's fair. That's fair. Intel works differently than Intel works differently than AMD. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, Intel has in the past generally been better with like RAM management and like flushing the cache and stuff like that. And Nizzle didn't happen yet. 50-watt update. Yeah, 50-watt update for X2 for X2 Mini would be interesting, or Apex Air. Save state. This is not Too Loud. No, who is it then? Onk? I don't believe that for a second. Okay, Rickster, welcome. Question, will any items where, sorry, question, will be any items where you can customize your OneXplayer? For example, like case? Oh, good question. I'm working on a video. I should have it published tomorrow about like accessories and stuff that you can add on to the device. But for case, I haven't found one yet. This is the official case that it comes with, and it's a chonker. The downside about this though is that you know, you can't even put a power brick or anything like that in here, and this is kind of a missed opportunity. There's no like mesh or something. But I haven't found a case yet. Maybe one of my friends in the chat already found one. Let's see, Robotech, would you say? Do you prefer the detachable controllers? You guys got me at the FOMO, ordered the OneXplayer 3 yesterday. Well, I know that was a Nelly that got you the FOMO. She's still an Apex girl, just so you know. I personally like the detachable controllers, and I know Too Loud does too. Like, we just love the versatility, right? Like the fact that you're playing this, it's not super heavy or whatever, but if you want to, you could dock this to a TV, you could disconnect this. And I have this like stupid, crazy, ridiculous contraption. Also, there's a video for that where you can connect your XR glasses to like a wireless transmitter. Yes, it tops out at 60 hertz or 60 FPS unless you pay for a very expensive transmitter. And you could just dock this and you could use the XR glasses kind of wirelessly with, you know, another pair of controllers. It works best with the Legion Go 2, but I'm looking into a way of getting it to work with the OneXplayer 3. So yeah, I just love the versatility of it, right? And even though I've also been vocal about, I don't even have one because I had to order one afterwards. That's a different story, but this thing has a keyboard, whereas this doesn't. And, you know, the Legion Go 2 doesn't even have it, right? So it's all that adds together in terms of versatility. Okay, so I'm quitting this game. And we're going to load up Tokon, right? Tokon. You guys in the chat have to help me convince my boy Too Loud there to fight me on Discord. We're going to have a big tournament. So join the Discord. We'll play Marvel Tokon. Maybe we'll play Dragon Ball Fighters. What else? We'll only play the fighting games that I'm good at. Okay? That's the rule. So if there's some game like, you know, like Killer Instinct or whatever, where you can break combos mid hit confirm, yeah, we're not playing those games. Okay, so we said Tokon though, right? Tokon, I don't know if it's going to let me load it because you need to be connected to the internet. And this is probably another gripe that people have with Tokon. You have to sign, well, you have to sign into PlayStation. Ew. Ugh, right? Gross. Who does that? I will say though, for the record, from my understanding, they did a really piss poor job of porting Tokon to PC, and they are working on that. They have to really fix it. It was built for PlayStation, you know. What's it say? Unable to sync play anyway. It's probably gonna, yeah, I don't know. It's not letting me. Okay, I'll do that afterwards though. But yeah, the performance on this, I will say, is not good because there's something messed up with the settings. And this is why I was on 800p earlier, because I found that when I switched from 1200p on the OneXPlayer 3 yesterday when I was trying out Tokon, it kind of fixed the settings, even though in-game it still said 1080p. And I don't know, I wasn't pixel peeping, but when I looked at it, it didn't really look like it was 800p. But it fixed the settings, as in, like, before I switched it to 800p, it was not hitting 60 FPS. And then after I set it to 800p, again, when I say 800p, I mean on this display here, on the Windows display, not on the in-game graphics setting. In-game graphics setting, it was still saying 1080p. It fixed it for whatever reason. Yeah, okay, so I'll go into training mode here. So yeah, telling me to sign in. Get out of here. I want to sign in. Okay. Who am I trying to learn how to play right now? Spider-Man is meta. This I know. We'll use the Future Foundation Spider-Man. Use Iron Man, of course. Or we'll use the classic Iron Man. Oh, this is like a, it's almost like a Doctor Doom Iron Man. Okay. Use Doom. I don't know. I really hate this costume. It looks so weird. I don't know what you guys think. The Supreme Ruler looks weird as hell. And the last character is Wolverine. X-Force Wolverine? X-Force Wolverine. Wait, what's this? Oh, brown suit. Okay. X-Force Wolverine. Okay. All right. So the settings I believe for this are. Oh, why is it saying lock? The settings for this I believe are medium or high. I'll have to check. I think it's medium 1080p. Joyce Tech, I have the X2 Mini Pro 395 from the Apex upgrade program, and I bought OXP3. It's coming soon. Oh, awesome, dude. Wait, does this mean you're in Asia? Because my understanding is that upgrade program doesn't exist outside of Asia. The port is fine. It's the DRM problem. Oh, welcome, welcome, AK. Oh, is it the DRM? You're saying it's the DRM that is, like, is it de novo or something? Is that the problem? It's going to be personal preference. I have both, and I prefer the OXP3. Yeah, me and Too Loud, we don't always agree on things, but we agree on the OXP3. You know, power isn't always everything. Don't tell Nelly that, but power isn't always everything. You know. So it looks like, let me see. Oh, I'm still using the Steam in-game overlay, so I don't think I can change the size for that. So yeah, so it's holding a steady 60 here, but I want to see how much I can turn it down until it like starts to dip. Yeah, it's already dipped. Like this is mid 50s now. And this is at 25 watts. Okay. So yeah, that's not great. That's pretty high, honestly. Now let me see if my theory was correct from yesterday. So all I'm doing here is changing resolution, and I know it might be, you might be thinking it's because, I don't know, is it? I honestly can't tell. I mean, I still think this looks great. This is set at 800p, 1280 by 800 on the display. And if you go into the graphic settings, and I'll show you guys that afterwards, it still says 1080p. Maybe that's just like a glitch or something. So now I can turn it down to 20 watts and I'll still have 60. Now I'm at 15. Okay, there were some dips there during the cutscene. Yeah, so this is at 15. It's oh, I missed. I think this is, it's definitely playable though. I was a little surprised, and I was streaming it the other day on Discord. I was not getting a steady 60, and this was on my, I don't know if it was because I was streaming, but this was on my 5070 Ti on my desktop. So it was actually kind of startling. You know, mind you that was at 4K, but still, like, it was kind of bizarre to me. So it looks like, yeah, we get frame drops during the cutscene, but I don't think that's a problem. I believe this uses rollback netcode, so that shouldn't be a problem. You know, if you drop a couple of frames during the cutscene, because it'll all resync once you get out of the cutscene. Let me try and load it up now. No, same thing. Okay, so what I'll do is, and turn off the Wi-Fi here, and then maybe I'll turn on that Wi-Fi. Maybe I could cheat it. Okay, and then I'm gonna go and hit, what time is it here? Oh, it's already almost an hour in, so I'm gonna go and hit, oh, okay, I just, what? Sign me out? Come on, man. You gotta love that. Let's see. Okay, let me hit this other question here, though. Which one am I more likely to recommend to someone buying their first handheld? So my default answer is what Too Loud actually said. I think it's going to depend on personal preference. But also, if it's their very first handheld, I don't know. I kind of feel like it wouldn't be either of these because they're just too expensive. And the same goes for, you know, a Steam Deck, at least like new. It's just too expensive now. You know? So yeah, I kind of feel like the answer would be neither of them. All right, so other questions here. There's a hacked version that runs like butter, suppose. What, of Tokon? Oh, interesting. Have you tried Moonlight on the OXP3? Does it run Moonlight stream well? AK, I have not, but you know, I've used Moonlight on like other devices, and it's fine. It's not going to be a problem. Like, I've run it on Android devices and phones and stuff like that. It's more of a problem of like if you don't have a relatively new device and what your internet connection is like, for me anyway. So let me check the settings here. Yeah, so here's another problem with this game. It doesn't tell you what the graphics settings are while you're in the game here, which is annoying. Okay, so graphics settings here, borderless windowed. See, it says 1080p. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like I didn't change it, but when I set the Windows display setting to 800, it just runs a whole lot better. Just one of those things. So graphics setting is at high quality. And scaling resolution is 80. I didn't change this. Let's change this to 100 scaling resolution. Go back to the training. Okay. I think this is going to compile shaders because I've not run this game on the Apex yet. Yeah, it's doing shader compilation. Oof, okay, well, let me hit the next question here. Performance-wise, is there a real gap, or are we splitting hairs at this point? Yeah, we touched upon that earlier, and at the lower TDP, so under 20-ish or 30-ish, depending on what the game is, most likely, the Onexplayer 3 is the winner there. Like, it's using less power for better frames for more performance. But as soon as you go past that, and you can't even exceed 40 watts on the OneXFly 3, the Apex, the X2 Mini Pro, they take over. Like, it's not even a contest, right? And the last question I got there was, if you could only keep one, which are you keeping? Ooh, this is a great question for my buddy Too Loud too. I wonder if he'll answer this one. After I get the X2 Mini Pro, which is in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a real tough decision because I'm not going to keep all three of them. Realistically, I can't afford it. It is the thing. Like, I need to pay bills. I can't afford to have like 3 insanely powerful devices just sitting on hand. More power to the creators and people that can. I can't. I'm just not in the financial situation to be able to do that. So for me, at the very least, I'm probably selling my Apex. Like, that's just how it is. Like, it's sad because this is a liquid cooled version. I bought this from my buddy Tech Guy Bo. If you haven't seen his stuff, he's got great content. He's my laptop guy, so go and check out his stuff if you haven't seen it before. But I'm probably gonna have to part with this. This is a 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte variant. It's liquid cooled too. I never use the Frostbite, but like, it's basically the top spec of an Apex. And you can't even buy this one anymore because Apexes are also only 388s, right? They're no more 395s. But just for me, like, and the thing with the battery pack and stuff, yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't suit my needs. And this is particularly coming from a person who, once again, like right behind me here, this is my main desktop. It has a 5070 Ti here, and I also have an eGPU, a 5060 Ti 16 gig, like, connected. So I have like 2 GPUs running there, simultaneously. I use that for editing, and when I'm on Discord, once again, hop on to Discord if you want to come and hang out or play some games. I use that primarily, and then like when I'm not at my desk, I'm using my OneXplayer 3 now. So at the very least, I'll probably sell the Apex. I'm probably going to keep the X2 Mini Pro for as long as I realistically can, because it's got the same screen. It's a beautiful screen, but it's more performant than this, right? And I think Too Loud has said like he's going to just keep that one docked essentially, right? And I want to be able to do that too, but once again, I may not be in the financial situation to afford that. So, long story short, if I'm only keeping one, it's probably going to be the OneXplayer 3. Again, that's me, because I also have an eGPU. If I need that power, I'll just plug in the eGPU, But for someone else, might be a totally different answer. Yeah. Okay, what'd you say there? Secondhand Ally as the first, Secondhand Ally X as their first handheld joystick. I think that's a pretty good recommendation, actually. Yeah, you could probably, if you're in the US, I don't know about the UK or in Canada, but if you're in the US, I think you can get used Ally X's maybe around $600 or whatever. You're getting the better RAM. You're not stuck to that XG mobile port. Yeah, there's a lot of good things with that one. Nizzle, first handheld is ROG Xbox Ally X20. Yeah, Nizzle, bro, I love you. We ain't got Scrooge McDuck money like you do, bro. Too Loud, you said that too. Oh, it's a pirated version, DRM free, so it's better, of course. Oh, joystick, that kind of makes sense though. First handheld should probably be now, price wise, Xbox ROG Ally X. Yeah, even the like the non X20, you're saying, Robotech, right? If I understand you correctly. Yeah, the Xbox Ally X, the one with the 7-inch LCD, that you can get for $1,000 brand new at Best Buy, or very often, like probably even right now, used, fair, or good or excellent, anywhere from like $850 or something to $900 or something like that. That, yeah, it's very true. Okay, so I should have done this earlier. Another skill issue, guys. Sorry, and thank you for your patience. Oh, wait, let me double check the settings there. So, options, graphic settings, 1080p. I think I had this at TSR. Scaling resolution 100, best quality. Okay, so I'll turn this down to high quality because there's high quality on the OneXplayer 3. All right, just to make this quick. Okay, so it's at 15 watts and this is at 55 watts. Okay, so I'll turn this down to 35. I hope this doesn't get me banned, changing the TDPs. So I know that can be a problem for, like, you know, anti-cheat games. Okay, so they're both at the same wattage right now. Okay. AK, you could also stream your PC to your OXP3. Yeah, exactly. So that's the option for me as well, and that's why it doesn't really make sense for me to hold on to that many. I mean, you know, it'd be great for content and comparisons and stuff like that, but yeah, you know, because I got a family, you know, financials are the big killer there. That's what you do all the time at home. You stream your 5090 to your Ally X or Z13 plus GameSir G8 Plus. Oh yeah. OneX Apex is my very first PC handheld. Damn boy, baller. Yep, upgraded to X2 Mini Pro. Do you have the X2 Mini Pro now, Joyce Tech? I forgot, I should have asked you. Bought it in China, local price. Oh, for $1,400 US dollars? Bro, that's like highway robbery in this economy. Wow, crazy. Okay, so let's look here. They're both holding a steady 60 as we should hope, right? Someone can do a frame time analysis here if you want. Okay, then I'm going to drop the TDP down a little. Okay. So I'm going to drop this down to 30. And we could do this two ways, right? Oh, I cheated. I'm sorry, guys. See, I should have put this at 1200p again. You're cheating, man. It's not fair. Okay, so I'm already getting 51. I you know, I don't know if this is an Intel thing. I'm not trying to make excuses or whatever, but you know, this, we got 35. We're already dropped, as I said. Like, there was something wrong. Maybe it is, no, maybe this is the power of the CPU on the Strixhalo, right? Because we got 60 here, 30 FPS on Strixhalo, but we've already dipped down below that on the OneXplayer 3. So remember, if we're using the Fairly Average Dude's estimations, you know, I believe this this should be at like 20 watts, which is going to drop down a lot more. And then the Apex has to be at 25, so it's normalized TDP. Both systems are taking about the same amount of power. The OneXplayer 3 is only, I know it's very hard to see, but it's only getting like around 44, whereas Tokon on the Apex is holding a steady 60. So this is a win even at a lower wattage for the Apex. You know, I don't know if this is I mean, I've heard that it's very poorly optimized, but like that's not the point. The point is that we're seeing this tangible and noticeable difference here. Okay, so this is an unplayable state for both of these games, to be clear, because this is at 45 FPS now, and this is at 36 FPS. This is, again, the kind of normalized TDPs, 15 watts and 20 watts, right? What if I put them at the exact same wattage? It's gonna be still bad, I'm pretty sure. So 40, they're about the same FPS is what it says. So, and then if I turn this up to 25, I remember I was able to get 60 on this. Excuse me. Okay, so 25, I'm able to get 60 here. Okay, let's see. Let me do the auto combo. And I can't, and I'm not getting 60 here on the OneXPlayer 3. You can see it's already a couple frames behind. And dropping more frames. Okay. So like in a fighting game, every single frame matters. So this is not playable on the OneXPlayer 3 at 25 watts, 1080p at 1200, right? If you turn it down to that fake 800p or whatever that I was doing, then it seems like this is playable. But the Apex, you don't even have to do that. So what if I do that on the Apex though? I turn it to the 800p. Okay, I'm sure I can turn down the wattage more. So I can do 20. It's very hard to see, like. So presumably this is 800p for Tokon. And now I can get 60 on the OneXPlayer 3. I can get 60 here, and I was obviously already at 60 with the Apex. So let me see this. This is at 25 watts. Let me see how far. I think I could turn it down to 15 when I was at 800p. Nope, I couldn't. Couple of dips. So nope, not okay. So maybe 17. Nope, let's just say 20 to be even. Okay, whereas the Apex, let me see, turn down to 15. Can I get away with that? No, it's killed itself. Like I said, once you drop below 20 or so, it kind of just like chokes itself. So 18, occasional frame drop. So, I mean, this is still a win to me for the Apex, because generally speaking, the Apex at lower wattage doesn't perform as well. So, you know, so this is an example of a game. It's either better optimized for AMD, or it's one of the cases where even at a lower wattage, you're getting something better performance-wise for this fighting game in its current state. And at the same time, though, like I don't know if this is picking up on screen. Look how much more vibrant the screen is. They're both turned up at full brightness. This is what I mean, right? Like they're running both at the same resolution. You can clearly see here that OLEDs don't just belong in TVs. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Robotech, maybe drivers on Intel since it's a new game. Yeah, no, you're right. It's possible for Intel as well, because actually I didn't even update the drivers. I'll be honest with you, because I didn't have time to. I was trying to before this stream, but I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream too. My son is homesick with me, so it's his fault. No, I'm kidding. I mean, oh, but oh wait, is this not a win for AMD? The Apex just killed itself. It just froze. Like the whole system froze. Ooh, that is not good. Ooh. You're witnessing this live, folks. See? Drop. This is obviously better. This is obviously worse than drop frames when the whole system crashes. I don't know, is my Apex dying? I've been hearing a bunch of that recently. Not good. AK, I think OXP3 is handheld and also portable. I'm not sure Strixhalo handhelds are as portable. Well, yeah, so you're dead on with that too. And that's my thing too. So if you pretend that this is, let's pretend this is the X2 Mini Pro and it has that backpack on the back, you know, I'm gonna have a better idea once I have it in hand. But I have a feeling, because I've been kind of negatively biased against it already without even having had it in hand, that not only is it going to be heavier than this, which I won't like. I talked about earlier how I don't like, you know, having to fiddle around with the backpack because I have to, you know, because I have young kids and I have to, you know, be able to just like drop things whenever to, you know, take care of that. But as a kind of convertible device, I think it's also worse too, because I drop this, and I know what Too Loud's going to say, but if I drop these controllers, now the OneXplayer 3 is a tablet. Like, it's not a fantastic tablet because this kickstand is mid at best, right? But it's a tablet now. Whereas the OneXplayer, the OneXplayer 2 X2 Mini Pro, it has the big chunky backpack on the back that, yes, I know you can hold it and has a better kickstand, but that's a massive thing that is not really a tablet. You know what I mean? It's better docked, to be clear, because then you just dock and you don't care about the battery or whatever, but it's a worse tablet experience. At least this is what I assume without having had hands-on with it, right? But yeah, again, just my assumption. And why I keep going back to the eGPU thing, because if you're docking somewhere and you're leaving a device somewhere, the eGPU just, it's perfect, you know? you want a couple of external batteries if you want to be portable. Yeah, absolutely, Megabyte. It's 100% true. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna give, what time is it here? Okay, I'm gonna give just a couple of minutes here and to answer some more questions. Uh, I don't think it's not that bad. Just grip the battery to use as a tablet. I mean, I'm hoping that you're right, Megabyte. We're gonna find out when you know, when I get it. So we'll see. Okay, so you said Final Fantasy VII. I'm gonna load up Final Fantasy VII, and then after that, I'm gonna switch over to XR new stuff. There's some interesting stuff, but also I'm gonna do a little quick unboxing here because something came in the mail that I wanted to show off. I'm not sponsoring this video, as I often say on Speedcast, but they should be. And let me switch this back to 1200p. Wait, what? Okay, so right now they're both set at 20 watts. So remember, that's not the normalized. Oh, compile shaders again. Wonderful, guys. Don't you love it? That's my favorite game. That's why in my intro, which I don't use anymore, it had the compiling shaders thing. Somebody asked me, like, dude, do you have to compile shaders every time? I'm like, yeah, bro. Have you not played Hogwarts Legacy? Every single time you boot it, compiling shaders. And how many batteries do you need to take with you to actually play on the go? I think you respond. I got a funny thing to show you. Just call me Battery Man. See this? Just call me Battery Man. There's yeah. That doesn't include my portable batteries. I just have them there on my desk. Oh, welcome, Sly. Sly Client, the Tech Dad. Yeah, welcome. Okay, so let's go just check here. I don't remember where I am in the game, so let's see. Fools. Oh, it's in Costa del Sol. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, so this is somewhere in Costa del Sol. Almost done on the Apex. Okay, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to check the graphics settings here. So one thing about this game is it has a tendency, if I remember correctly, this game has a tendency to save settings across devices. So it's kind of a little bit annoying, but okay. Okay, so here we can see it is at 1080p for both, 120 FPS for both. It's at high 66 and 66% scaling. So that's like an FSR quality about. Okay. This game is pretty demanding. So this says AMD FSR upscaling. I don't think this game actually has XeSS yet. No, it doesn't. They only recently added AMD to this. It was NVIDIA only for a while. Okay, so everything else is the same. We are at I think it was high. It's like a, oh, this is my custom high mix. Okay. Okay, so okay, skill issue, guys. Okay, so we're just like in a random place in Costa del Sol. FPS here on the Apex is 48, about 48, and 53 on the OneXPlayer 3. So about 10%-ish difference on them. Okay. Okay. So let's see if I can leave this area. Oh, there's a big frame drop there. Okay, I'll stand in front of this thing. You can probably see it drops to like the high 30s, at least on the Apex here. This setting. Like I said, it's a pretty demanding game. Okay, stand in front of this thing. All right, so it was dropping to like 40. It's like high 40s right now on the Apex and mid 50s on the OneXplayer 3. So if we do the normalized TDP, that would mean that the Apex should have to be lower, right? But instead of that, we'll drop the I'm sorry, the Apex should be higher. So we'll drop the OneXplayer 3 down to like 15. So 15 and 20 is a more comparable for the overall device power consumption. So they're pretty similar right now. This is high 40s. This one here is high 40s also. Okay. Yeah, pretty similar actually. So normalized here. Okay, so if we turn this up though, let's see. So actually, I think this is a good showing for the Apex because at 20, it's still doing pretty well. And then if you turn up, I'm pretty sure the Apex is just gonna blow it out of the water here. So if we go 40 here, and it's supposed to be like 35, right? Around, or maybe like 30. Let's do 34 and 40. So it's already capped out the 60 very easily. And this has not capped out the 60. Interesting. This is still into the 50s. This might be something wrong with the game, honestly. But as you can see at the 20 watt range, around the 20 watts, the Apex was still getting like, 40s, 50s. What if I turn the Apex to around 16? Let's see what happens. We'll do this to like 10, right? What's that going to look like? It's going to just drop off a cliff. So about 30, still above a cinematic here. Apex, still above 30 at 16 watts. Okay. I think this is I want to say this is almost like it's almost like even, or it's very close. I think this shows, though, if anything, that the Apex can play some games at the lower wattage. I did say like under 20 watts, it just falls off a cliff, and that's generally true, right? But if you're like portable, you're completely portable, you can't get yourself to a wall outlet or something, playing a single player game, which are the types of games that I usually play, I think that's fine. 30 with this high fidelity image and game, like it's fine, you know? Obviously not for anything competitive though. Noel, which device do you find yourself reaching for most of the time? I mean, right now, dude, it's my desktop. I'm just kidding. It's my phone. No, if it's a handheld PC, yeah, I prefer using the OneXPlayer 3. I was mentioning earlier, I have a love-hate relationship with the backpack battery, so I really like this, and I like that I could just drop the controllers if I really want to. Apex is a monster. Love the life you live, 007. Okay, so that is Nelly's alt account, right? Everyone? Yeah, think so. Okay. All right. But yeah, so I mean, I would say this is a pretty good showing for actually both of them. For a demanding game that is, I don't think this game is poorly optimized, but it's not an easy to run game. It's kind of like somewhere like Expedition 33, which is also like a hard to run game, not exactly perfectly optimized. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you guys the thing that I like a lot, and it's the fridge. I'm going to freeze the game, and then I'm just going to hibernate. One of the best features of One X console, no lie. Okay, and then I'm just going to move these to the side here. I'm going to do a quick unboxing of this thing I want to show you guys. All right, so quick shout out to Apito. They sent these over to me to I don't know if it's reviewed, just take a look and see what I think of them. I should have used this during Tokon, honestly. This is the Apito Ultimate 2, I think it is. I have a purple one of these, like the GameCube one. This is kind of their standard thing, right? So they have a whole bunch of colorways, as I understand, a whole bunch of different Apito 2 Pro controllers. This is my understanding anyway. So they are kind of the standard when it comes to like, I guess like, you know, good good controller for the money type deal. Like it doesn't have all, it's not going to have all the bells and whistles. Like you don't have a swappable D-pad, swappable faceplate and stuff like that, but they're solid controllers, and they would be controllers that you would want to use, you know, like at a family outing. You're going to play like Mario Party or something like that, right? That's my understanding of these things. Okay, so I guess this one comes with the charging dock as well. So I do, oh, I have to, actually I have to give an extra thank you to PICO, who once again, they did gift this to me. And did they know? Have they seen my channel? Like I love I love white controllers. So, you know, okay. So this one, oh, this feels very comfortable. Oh, I like that. I like that kind of like blue teal thing. That's cool. Okay. So this actually, I was mistaken when I said the Ultimate Pro 2. This is the problem with the naming scheme. The controller I have it's more shaped like a PlayStation controller. This feels more like an Xbox controller, right? An Xbox layout, hence the Xbox button. I like the designs here, the little like hex marks here. It's very cool. They do have a, I believe they have a Gears of War E-Day batteries, Amazon Basics batteries included. Whoa, this is better than the, do you guys remember those action figure commercials as a kid? It's like, it slices, it dices, it even makes julienne fries. Batteries not included. You know, like, batteries are included here. So nice. Good on you, PICO. So, yeah, I like this. Oops. Skill issue. And then you just plug in the back. So that's nice. D-pad is, it's kind of, it's very audible. I wouldn't use this like lying next to someone in bed. Yeah. No hair triggers, but you know, it's standard. I believe this is not that expensive though. So yeah. Nice colorway. So once again, thank you to PICO for gifting that to me. Of course, they have the little charging cable thing there. Now, the thing that I really wanted and I asked them for is actually the arcade controller pro. That I don't think that's actually released yet. So they offered this to me instead. And this is actually really cool. So I said that they weren't sponsoring this segment, but I mean, you could definitely look at this as a kind of sponsored segment. So yeah, thanks to them. Thanks to all of you for sticking around with me for this Q&A thing. You know, leave me a comment down below or leave me a comment in the chat. Like, what kind of comparisons and stuff do you guys want to see? I know I do a lot of weird jank setups. I did a weird AYN Thor video with some XR glasses that's nobody's watching, that nobody watched. I'm going to make more of those just because I don't think anyone else is doing it, and it's kind of funny. So this is they sent this controller here to me though. This was exciting because I saw this and I was like, you know, I'm not a purple controller guy. I'm not like a biggest fan of like purple. I'm not my friend Digital Jedi Gaming, but this just looked too beautiful to say no to. And so, as I usually say though, when if something was gifted to me, if I purchased it myself or if I loaned it to me, like, you know, all words and everything are on my own. They don't tell me what to say. They don't pay me. They should though. Okay, so here it says, yeah, this is really, wow. This actually looks a lot better in person. I don't know who these people are, to be clear, even though I consider myself like a casual FGC person. I don't know who those people are. So these are the flat buttons. So if you're wondering what you can do is there a keycap puller? I think there's a keycap puller in here. I don't know where it is, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. Basically, though, what you can do is if you want to hollow out the button and like not accidentally press it and stuff, you can switch to these. I will say I would have liked for these to be, I was going to say I would have liked for them to be purple, but I guess they're black and it matches the rest of the finish. So there's that. That is cool. And this is supposed to work for Windows and Switch, actually. So if I please unlock before use. So I believe, I don't know how much, I don't know if there's any battery here. So turn it on. So you can see here. So you can see the the backlit LED here, which looks really clean, it almost looks like it's printed, switches, like it says ZR, ZL, you know, L and R, and then when you switch it to X input mode, it switches to RB, LB, RT, LT. So yeah, that's super clean. Very nice. Nice smooth finish on this. I believe they have, yeah, the dongle is just on the back here. So I love, love, love that they have these dongles in the back here. Don't you guys hate when they have, when there's mechanical keyboards, and I hope you guys don't have this, when there's a mechanical keyboard and there's the little dongle and there's no place to put the dongle. That grinds my gears, to quote Peter Griffin. Yeah, so this is, yeah. I'm still learning how to play leverless. So you want to come onto the Discord, you want to kick my ass at one of those games that I said allegedly I'm good at, come and join me there, and then you can school me on that. And just for a point of reference, like I have my own, I have the DMG colorway of this. Oh, where did that pop off? Oh no, that thing popped off. Now I can't turn it on. That's embarrassing. But yeah, so I have the DMG. You can see like the black and the red, they switch colors here. This button looks a little bit different. Yeah, like I have to find that switch now. Oh no, was my kid playing with this? I feel like that's what happened. So you could say ZR, ZL, right? And then they switch and it becomes RT, LT. So yeah, they have a couple of different colorways. Like I said, I want the Arcade Controller Pro, which comes in this really clean white, and it has this like little LED here to show you what all your inputs are and your macros and stuff like that. I really love that one. So I hope I can get my hands on that. But this, in the meantime, yeah, I'm loving this. This looks amazing. Yeah. So very cool. Thank you again to 8BitDo. Thank you to you guys for putting up with me. Can it run Crysis? Shappers? You mean this arcade controller? No, this arcade controller can't. I mean, you could probably play Crysis with this. That would be a fun time. A lot of people like to play platformers now with this, as far as I understand. So give me 1 second here, and we're going to switch over to our XR stuff and our XR news. Oh, I'm upside down. What happened? Skill issue, guys. Wow, that's embarrassing. Doesn't this guy know what he's doing? Absolutely not. Okay, yeah. Once again, welcome to you all. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to switch over to our XR news portion for the rest of the day. So the big one here is that we got some juicy news from Viture about a new exclusive collaboration. And I don't see it on their website. What are you guys doing? You guys told me this would be included. Ah, okay, here it is. All right, I found it, guys. Chappers, I have an OXP3 on the way. It's left China. Hope. Oh yeah, awesome. Love to hear that. Hope to hear what you think about it. Let us know in the chat, or you know, come back and hit us up in the comments or in the Discord. Let us know if you like it or not. So let's go ahead and switch this. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so they announced today that there is a new collaboration for this upcoming game called PhantomBladeZero. So this was part of the teaser here. And this is, so I just learned about this actually yesterday. Shout out to DevSen, my friend DevSen on Discord, for actually bringing this to my attention, because I didn't know about this. He brought it up to me on Tuesday, I think it was. And so this thing is a new collaboration with PhantomBladeZero, the game PhantomBladeZero, and it is the new Beast. And it's $5.99, which I believe is the same price of the regular Beast, which, well done. Nice. Nice. Now, if you're wondering specs-wise what's different, I believe it's essentially the Beast. So that's not a bad thing, but it comes with this cool case that opens up like a scabbard, and you know, it's got really fancy looking design on it. I definitely want to get my hands on this. They asked me. They're like, "Hey, do you want to review this thing? Do you want one of these?" I'm like, "Are you serious? Is that a question? Of course I want this. What are we even talking about?" So yeah, you know, this is reminiscent of a scabbard, or so, you know, a sword, katana being pulled from a scabbard. So that's what they did with the case here. You can see it pulls out like this, and then the glasses are inside. Super cool. Um, you know, oh, is the connector cable red too? That would be really cool if that is the case. I believe one of these images is going to show, or maybe not. Okay, a little what you get in the bag. Okay, so this is also showing their new mobile dock mini that pairs really well with their new Switch 2. I'm sorry, with their Switch 2, and it's kind of it's a 2-in-1 dock adapter thing. So a little adapter plugs into that bigger adapter, which is also a battery, and you can use it with your Switch 2 or some other device. Like it'll work with the handhelds that I was just showing, like the Apex and the OneXPlayer 3, except the battery will not be powerful enough to charge them. It'll just work as like a kind of like a little hub type thing. But yeah, they're sending me a mobile dock mini. They have to work out a couple more kinks, is what I was told. So it does look like the USB-C cable is red. Well, that's interesting. They're showing like a OG ROG Ally. That's interesting. I hope it's braided because you know I do love me some braided. What is that? This what is that? That looks like it's a like a Win 4. I feel like that's a Win 4. Am I wrong about that? I feel like it's a Win 4. Okay. Yep. See direct connection, and then yeah. As long as your device, if you're new to the XR glasses space, you know, welcome to the stream, welcome to this video. It'll plug into any device that supports video over USB-C. And if you have an older iPhone, so older than iPhone 15, you have to buy an adapter. And you know, all that'll be the same for every one of these XR glasses. Like you'll have to use some kind of adapter because Lightning, there's no native like Lightning to USB-C cable that'll work with these XR glasses. So here's like some of the features, some other things like that. So the description, this should be a 58 degrees field of view. It's using the 0.68-inch Sony Micro OLEDs. It's 1900 by 1200p. And then you know, up to 120 hertz. Of course, it depends on what your signal is. This is the IPD. Okay, and once again, 58 degrees field of view. So yeah, super cool. And if you're wondering about like what the capabilities are before you buy, make sure you click through all these different things. These glasses, they do have the native pinning on them themselves. So that means you can lock the image in space. You turn your head and it's going to stay there. Okay. Or it has a follow mode or the stabilize mode. So like instead of just being stuck as you move around, it'll lag behind. It'll be better for motion sicknesses from my understanding. So this has all of those bells and whistles on there, except there is no 2D to 3D conversion on the glasses. You have to use their app called Spacewalker in order to do that. Just so you're clear, but all that documentation says that down there. So if you are unclear or if it's confusing, you know, leave a comment down in the chat or in this comment section, and I'll do my best to answer that. So yeah, that is their new PhantomBladeZero Beast. Is that what they're called? Phantom Beast. Oh, that's okay. Cute name. And as a point of reference, let me just go back. So look at the Beast here. I believe those are still. Maybe those are 550. Oh, they're 550. Okay, so you're paying $50 more for the kind of I think it's limited edition, right? I don't know how many there are. I know there was a question earlier in the chat about the Cyber Lumas, right? So those are now sold out. Those were a $50 premium as well. Personally, those were less worth it to me than these are because these are the Beast and they have the pinning feature, as I mentioned, and the ability to like make the image bigger or smaller right on the glasses. Whereas the Luma Pros and the Luma Ultras, they don't have that on the glasses themselves. You have to use some other piece of software. So for me, the $50 for this might be worth it, but not for the Cyber Lumas, unless you're a big like cyberpunk fan. But once again, you can buy them refurbished from Viture's eBay store. It's Viture. Make sure the seller says Viture. If it's not, then it's somebody else's third party. I do also have a discount code. It's affiliate code. I do make a small commission from that. I don't know if it'll work for the Phantom Beast. It has worked for every other pair of glasses, except for that and the new Viture Pro 2s, and works for every other product, including lens inserts. So, you know, if you don't mind helping a guy out for, you know, providing you some information, then, you know, please do use that code. It's GamersGen. I'll leave it in the description. But if you use my code, for example, the price difference is more than $50. So for example, if you are trying to get the flagship Viture glasses and you want to get, you're not sure which one between them, and you're not sure if $50 is worth it, if my code doesn't work on this, and it does work on the Viture Beast, then it's about $100 difference. And it's not like, you know, $50 difference. That's what I'll say. I could actually probably check here, but I don't want to, I'm not sure if I'll dox myself, so I don't want to do that. Chappers, I have Viture Beast, was using it with my A1 Thor, worked really well. Gets hot after an hour. Hey, nice dude. I think that's actually a really like next level move. All right, so let's go to the next thing, which was the RayNeo GT Max. So these are launching on September 4th, I think it says. Yeah, September 4th. So they have been out in China since, I believe, July. I do have them here. So if you are curious about these, my boy Skulls, if you're still out there, I do have these. These are the RayNeo GT Maxes. I'll be releasing a first impressions kind of early review video of them as soon as I can in this coming week. So these are RayNeo's first glasses that have that 3 DOF, that 3 degrees of freedom, that ability to lock the image in space, and no matter where. So if you turn your head away, like the image stays there, or like the ability to kind of like trail behind you here. What I'll say right here on stream is they're comfortable. They get pretty bright. They're not perfect, but as I understand, for the Chinese pricing, they're pretty aggressive, because like for Viture and for X-Real, in order to get that 3 DOF, that pinning ability, you have to pay the Beast price that we just talked about, which is new anyway, is a minimum of $500. And on the X-Real side, you can get it for $450 on the X-Real 1S, but this is less than that from my understanding. It's just a shame here that it doesn't say what the price is here. It says, you know, early bird price, like extra $30 off. Like, just tell us what the price is, guys. That's the only thing. Yeah, they did give these to me, to be clear. But also these are the Chinese versions also, because the operating system or the UI in here is all Chinese. There's no English in here. So if you decide to import that, know that as well. I didn't see a setting that you could change the language. Okay, so let's keep moving before I lose my voice here. AK, do you think the ROG X-Reals are considerably better than something like the Viture XR Pro? I have those from a couple gens back. They are definitely in a lot of ways. But the Viture Pros, they still offer a lot of value. They're a very good product, is what I would say. I highly invite you to go and check out my X-Real R1 videos out there already. There's a couple of them, but the TLDW of them is, they're good. They're just very expensive because you can only buy them in a bundle. You can only buy them in a bundle with the dock, or you can only buy them in the bundle with the X20. Like, probably down the line they'll release them by themselves, but yeah, it's just not. It's expensive. Like, if you really want that 240 hertz mode, that's the only way to get it, as far as I know right now, anyway. Okay. Yeah, or any of the newer. Oh, sorry if I misread the rest of yours. The newer ones, I do think that there's a lot of nice quality of life changes and things like that. But yeah, definitely hit me up in the comments afterwards. Okay, so let's check what was the other piece of news here? Okay, so Pico is supposed to have an Apple Vision Pro competitor. That's basically something that's like super powerful, has some beautiful micro OLEDs inside, not unlike this Galaxy. Oh, almost knocked over my coffee again. Oh, not unlike this Galaxy XR headset here. But and Pico, if you've never heard of them, they made like these Quest 2 and Quest 3 competitor headsets only in China. They are owned by ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok. And yeah, people have been waiting a long time for them to make like a new headset because they came in at like a pretty aggressive price and stuff. But it seems like it's delayed, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for some other kind of competitor. So if you are interested in mixed reality stuff or even VR stuff, I don't know, you might have to keep huffing that Steam frame copium, as long as you don't mind the LCD panels that are inside that. So the next one is this is related to Quest here. And this is that they're using AI, and I know slop can often be a very divisive or polar topic these days, but this thing is saying that they can check the quality of Quest games just by using some AI to run through it. And I don't know, maybe this is a bad take, but I feel like if it can do a half decent job, like it boots the game itself, it tries to run like a level or something like that, that's a good thing because then it may not require a human to do that because a lot of human developers and publishers these days, they're just being forced to pump out as much content and push up timelines as much as they can just so that the publishers can have the game out, right? So if this is a tool that developers can make now or that can make use of now, like I'm all for that. Obviously, if this is replacing someone's job, then I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That's like, is there something else that that person can do like in addition to that rather than just like running a test for this game? So yeah, it's an interesting though because it does make me wonder. This is related to VR games on or mixed reality games on Quest, but can we potentially see something like this in our regular games, you know, on our handhelds and stuff like that as well? All right, so this is smart glasses related, and it says that they're apparently working on a translation feature for Android XR. So this is Samsung and Google's collaboration, as far as I understand. So they're doing some translation stuff. If you caught last week's XR news, I talked briefly about how it seems like some governments and things like that are moving against camera glasses. So a couple of companies, I believe RayNeo included, they're coming out with new pairs of smart glasses that have like a little screen inside. They have it's just like a green screen, and you can check your notifications and check text messages and stuff. And there's some kind of AI built in there, but there's no camera on them. So I do wonder, like, are we going to get this kind of product segmentation where camera glasses like the Ray-Ban Metas are kind of going to start going away because people are concerned about privacy and stuff? And we'll see more glasses that just have a display inside of them and don't have, you know, cameras facing outward. It's a kind of interesting thing to think about. Um, what do you guys think? Is that a non-starter? Is it concern for you? Let me know. All right, and one of the last things for today. So X-Real Aura, I know there's a lot of hype behind this thing. This is going to be Xreal's new flagship. That's when it launches, okay? And they're saying that it's going to launch sometime in the fall, and they surpassed 10,000 units. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, especially in the gaming space and even in the handheld space, but 10,000 units is quite a bit considering this package, which is XR glasses and this it's not it's a puck. It's basically like a phone that has a Snapdragon chip inside, right? I believe it's like a new version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite that's in some of the more powerful tablets and powerful tablets and phones. So this thing, if you are interested and you've seen like the emulation space and that type of stuff, especially with game native, meaning that's the PC emulation, playing PC games on an Android phone or Android device, it's really starting to come along a long way. And I got a friend. His channel is that's Gaming Unplugged. I'll link his video, or I'll link his channel in the description below. He has a lot of really great stuff for game native. Basically, this would mean that this device should be able to play those types of games and stuff like that as well. But it's not cheap, right? It's over $1,000, I believe, was what they said. I don't exactly remember, I'll be honest. think they were aiming for somewhere around 1200 or 1250 or whatever. I believe they did also state that they might sell the glasses separately. These XR glasses should have the largest field of view for any display glasses on the market when it comes to October. That is, unless, of course, those UR XR1 glasses come out on the market first. Because those ones are supposed to have different kind of, they have a different kind of lens technology. Those are more like VR headsets, and they have 90 degrees field of view is what they're saying, but it's also coming from a small company. So you have to remain a little bit skeptical because they don't have a track record like Xreal does, right? Like, is that your XR company? I want them to succeed primarily because I backed it. I paid $700 to back those glasses, but there's a couple of things, like you can't plug it directly into a phone. You have to plug it into like a power bank hub thing in order to connect it to a phone, or you have to plug it into like something that's more powerful, like one of our handhelds, and then it'll work directly. So like there's a couple of like little catches with that. And like I said, it's coming from a newer, like smaller company. So, you know, you got to wonder if like they're able to deliver all the units that they're promising and stuff, because I believe they hit a really large number too in terms of the numbers that they backed. So these Xreal Aura glasses, though, if they're sold by themselves, they're touting the 70 degrees field of view. I believe they're still saying that it's 1080p resolution, though. So I'm a little bit concerned about the pixel density and how that looks inside the lenses. But hey, that's just my take. I could be totally wrong, and it'll still be amazing. But you know, that's pretty much what I think. All right, so just about to wrap up in the stream here today. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me. And, you know, as I usually say, leave me a comment down below if you found something useful or you don't find anything useful. Let me know what you want to see, some comparisons and stuff like that. I thank you all for your support, your extra support too. I know you don't have to give like memberships and super chats. I appreciate it. None of my stuff is paywalled. The same thing on Handhelds United, the group that I'm a part of when we do our live streams every Tuesday. Our promise is to never paywall any of our content. You know, it'll be reposted on Patreon, for example, but it's completely free. You don't have to sign up or anything like that. And I'm doing the same thing on my own channel. So, you know, I appreciate you all guys for hanging out with me and asking some really great questions and things like that. Let me just check a couple of questions here before we wrap things up. Nizzle, haven't had the chance to ask, should I get the dock? Would it enhance the experience? Do you mean, Nizzle, do you mean the Xreal R1 dock? Oh, for the Xreal. Yeah, okay. I don't know, man. I mean, you have so many toys that I would like to believe that you could make use of it at some point, but I'll be honest, I don't even use mine. I will use them though, I will tell you, because what's great about it, like here, I'll show you. I don't even have it plugged in, but this is the dock, right? I'm going to use this plugged into my PS5 Pro when Wolverine comes out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in an HDMI to the back here, and then I'll plug in my Xreal R1s to the front here, and then I'll be able to play Wolverine off my PS5 Pro with this, and I'll have real-time 3D conversion. So I'll be playing 3D Wolverine in the glasses. So that's also an experience that I cannot normally get on PC, especially without this dock. Like, you have to jump through some hoops in order to get that, and that's kind of just convenient here. And one of the updates that I believe they just recently made was you can have controls on the glasses themselves, which wasn't the case when I first got this, because all the controls were here on this like little spinny nub thing. But now all the controls are back on the glasses, so that's actually really great, and I like that. So I'm probably going to be doing that with Wolverine, but that's like one game. That's a lot of money to spend on one game. It's just that I have a PS5 Pro, and I got one because I was scared that the price was going up, and also because Sony is allegedly not releasing exclusives to PC anymore. So I figured if I want to play those games, I want to have access to that. That's the reason for me, anyway. But yeah, so once again, so that'll be in the end of today's stream. I will be back next week. Next week, I'll probably do a Q&A for the RayNeo GT Max. So if you have questions about the RayNeo GT Max, you know, please do stick around for that one. Let me know in the comments if you have some other kind of comparison you'd like me to do. And, you know, thank you always for your support. I'll catch you guys on Discord, and, you know, catch you guys next week. Thanks so much.